Ah, the summer nights are coming to a close, so your summer sitter may be going back to school, meaning it's time to start looking for somebody new. But how do you know the person that you're hiring is really going to take care of your children? Well, with 2 young kids and a third on the way, local parent Lisa O'Polian has to deal with this process, and she has a few tips that we should remember. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Good morning.
So you've got your hands full with 2 kids at home, and
I do. And one on the way.
On the way.
I do.
That's great. That makes for a full happy house.
It definitely does. So my husband and I are definitely well versed in how difficult and frustrating it could be to find a trustworthy babysitter.
So how did you start?
We had lived in, we actually became familiar with SeekingSitters when we lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
SeekingSitters is the company that you've found around here?
Yes, SeekingSitters. We opened in June for the entire DC metro area. We became familiar with them when we lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We had moved there when my oldest was 2 and my youngest was 3 months, and neither had a babysitter. SeekingSitters is such an amazing company. Safe and reliable childcare is a global necessity, so we're really thrilled to be able to bring this service to the DC metro area.
Well, everybody who has looked for a babysitter knows that there are lots of companies out there where you can go for help in seeking a babysitter. What makes your company different?
Well, SeekingSitters, we do all the work for our families. We handle the sitter interviews, we do the scheduling, the billing, the online payment processing, and most importantly, we have these extensive background investigations that are administered by a licensed private investigator.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute, because
Sure.
It's quite amazing what lengths you go to screen these applicants, right? I mean, it's just almost like an FBI background check.
It absolutely is, and I can't stress enough how important it is to make sure that you are background checking your sitter. It's so worth the investment, as your children are your most valuable assets. There are so many companies online, but make sure that you're using a reputable company. There's a lot of companies, like I said, online that are using either old data or they're not checking back far enough to previous states in which the candidate lived. At SeekingSitters, like I said, we have licensed private investigators on hand that use the same type of investigative resources that are used by law enforcement agencies.
And so we're talking about, first of all, the criminal background check, the civil background check. You do a sex offender registry check.
In every state.
A personal ID.
We check
on if they
verify
are who they say they are.
Exactly.
And then character references too.
The way we do the character screen is actually quite interesting. We look at the candidates' social networking profiles, their Facebook, their MySpace, their Twitter, and you would be amazed what people post. And it really says a lot about a person. No matter how great they appear in an in-person interview or on paper, what they post really kind of says it all.
A lot of employers are also checking out those sites too before they hire people.
Oh, definitely.
It's very telling, and as a user, you need to be very aware that
you have to
somebody may be looking
posting.
at this. Be careful what you
post.
post.
Yeah,
So
be careful what you say.
Yeah, but I think really from a parental perspective, that is like the biggest question mark. How can I trust this person? And I think it really allays a lot of fears to know that this person is okay. They passed all the background checks.
Absolutely. The background investigation is probably the single most important, but there really are other things that you should be looking at. You really need to look at the candidate's experience. What age groups do they have experience with? Are they familiar with babies? Or do they only work with kids that are school age? And does that work for your family? Why do they want to be a sitter? Are they passionate about kids? Are they motivated for their love of children? Or are they just looking to make an extra buck?
So you definitely want somebody that's versed with babies if you have babies, or is great with teens if you got teens.
Exactly, and you want to understand also how they're going to engage your children. Are they going to come over and just watch your kids watch TV? Or are they going to come over and bring age-appropriate activities and engage your kids and get their minds going and get them active?
All right, that brings me to this other area of what is appropriate to ask of your babysitter as a parent. I mean, you may want them to help with homework, for example. You may want them to take and get a little exercise with the kids, take them out for a walk or whatever, throw the ball in the yard, or you may want them to maybe make some meals. Or what kinds of activities would be okay to ask them?
You know, it really depends on you and your household, and that's really important, is being able to set expectations with your sitter. What I suggest for parents is that they create a notebook that talks about their family, that gives contacts on who they can reach if there is an emergency, that talks about what activities these kids can do, what foods they're allergic to, what they can eat, when they can eat, and also gives information on each specific child. At SeekingSitters, we provide each of our member families with this family information packet that all the sitters are familiar with, and it has all of that information that the sitter knows exactly where to go to find that. And that gives the sitter lets the sitter know what's expected of her when she is on the job at a family's home.
That's great. Absolutely is definitely. What about cost, though? People who have not hired before may be a little shell-shocked. What can we expect an average price for a babysitter these days?
It really depends on, quite honestly, the area of the country that you're in, but you have to, like I mentioned before, your children are your most valuable assets. You certainly don't want to scrimp and save. If you're paying $5 an hour for 3 children, you're going to get that type of care.
And this is a pricey area, so $20 an hour would not be unheard of, would it?
Probably not.
No.
You pay for what you get.
Okay, good to know. Lots of good options as we look for childcare this fall. Lisa Apollyon, Seeking Sitters is the name of the company. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.